And so, this just looks like I'm showing off my nails. Am I though? Hey guys, welcome! So today I want to talk to you a little bit about a subject that I know a lot of creative people struggle with and that I have struggled with it a lot in my life, and that's how to balance art and money. I recently have been thinking a lot about it and I have a lot of thoughts, so maybe hopefully some of those thoughts will be helpful to you as well. So first off, I do want to say that this is just going to be my experience and how I have balanced art and money over the years. I'm just one person. I also have a chronic illness, so I have had to do things a little differently than a lot of other people I know. So maybe just take this as inspiration rather than just a set of hard and fast rules of how you have to do it. Secondly, I think it's important to say that this is not a video about how to turn your art into a creative business. At the moment, I am taking steps towards becoming a professional artist, and eventually, I'd love to be able to make money off of my fiction writing, but that's not what I've done over the course of my career, and that's not what this video is going to be about. If you do want a video about how to be a creative entrepreneur, I recently watched a really good one by a graphic artist called Ergo Josh. He is 100% able to live off of his creative work, and in the video he details all sorts of ways how you can do it for yourself. So I'll link that below, and yeah, go watch that if that's what you're looking for, because that's a really great video. And of course, as a disclaimer, if you want to do that, that is amazing. Please, by all means, go ahead. I just think it's not for everybody. I think for some people I know, always thinking about how they can monetize their art makes them into better artists. But for other people, it's really detrimental and it like stunts their creative growth. So I've always been in that last camp. I always knew my writing was gonna eventually be more than a hobby, and that it was not just gonna be for me. But I also felt like I needed a really long time secluded in my bubble, developing my craft, and I didn't want any creative decisions or development to be influenced by the thought that maybe it would have a monetary consequence. So straight out of art school, I had to look for a job. But my problem was that because I am chronically ill, if I had to work a lot of hours in a menial or service job, that would mean that I would have no time left to write. Well, I did do it for a while. I worked in a bookstore, I worked in a copy shop, but eventually I felt like I had to find a different solution and find something that would make me more money in fewer hours. And in art school, I was always told I was really good at critiquing others' work, so I decided to sort of develop myself into a writing coach and start a business. Now that first year, I remember being super scary. I did not have a lot of clients yet, and I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. I remember having a toothache and not being able to go to the dentist because I had no money, which is like exceptional in Holland because we have good healthcare. But so I remember that was a really tough year. It's a long time ago now. I don't even know what year it was, but it was a really tough year. But then after a while, I got more clients and things got better. So I was really able to make a dependable income off of that. So that's how I made money for years, and I was really happy doing that. I liked copywriting, and I also liked the amount of free time I had to devote to writing. And eventually I went from writing coaching into copywriting because I felt like being a writing coach, I was sort of too close to like all my clients were aspiring authors. I was an aspiring author, so there was a bit too much overlap there, and copywriting allowed me to have a little bit more distance to the work I was doing. It's really funny because I recently read an interview with Lee Bardugo. She's one of my heroes. And she said somewhat of a similar thing. She told the interviewer how she used to be a copywriter, and then when she was in her early 30s, she decided to go to school again and become a makeup artist. And then when she was a makeup artist, she found that she was able to write at night, even though she made way longer hours. When she got home at night, she was physically exhausted, but she was still able to write because she, like mentally, she wasn't exhausted. And so that's kind of funny because recently I've found that I'm kind of going through something similar. Like from the time I started taking this writing thing like really seriously in a professional way, like starting to query and putting myself out there as a writer, I found that the fact that I also was still copywriting was kind of draining me mentally and not leaving me with a whole lot of energy to pursue all of that. So recently I felt like it was time for yet another step, and I have now started to work as a freelancer for a very small artisanal soap workshop downtown, which is super awesome. And I already worked for them, but now that's sort of what I do exclusively apart from writing fiction. I still do a lot of PR there. I write blogs, etc. So I was able to like take my skills along with me and put them to use there. But it's definitely different in the sense that I can, work really hard and go home and just sort of leave my job behind and focus on the writing and everything else I do around it to make it into a more professional enterprise, if you will. And it was super scary to make that switch, by the way, because I make way less money. I make way more money as a copywriter, but it also felt like the right step at the right time. So I think the key to all of this is really that it's a balancing act. You have a finite amount of energy, and you can be physically super drained from your work but still have creative energy to write. Or you can be morally, emotionally drained from having your own business as an artist and not be able to create stuff or take your creativity to the next level or explore it freely. And I think it's down to each of us to find that balance for ourselves. Like maybe you're all the way over in this camp and you just want to pursue art completely for yourself, leave the whole money business aspect out of it, and make it into what other people would call a hobby. Maybe you do want to take it to a more professional level, but you want to do that from an existing, like, just full-time or part-time job. Or maybe you can do what I did and find one of your creative skills and turn that into a more like an adapted skill, I guess. Something that can make you money, and you can start a small business with that and do the pure creativity on the side, if that makes sense. Don't want it to sound like one is less than the other, but do the creative stuff that's just do like the stuff that you want to develop purely for yourself on the side. That's what I was trying to say. Or finally, maybe you're all the way over in this camp and you do love to jump straight into the business side of things. And maybe for you, the balance is like you can create that little independent bubble anywhere, everywhere, and being an entrepreneur doesn't stop you from doing that. So if that's you, that's totally awesome. And yeah, it's all good. And I do feel like I want to add something here, and that's that I realize that I am speaking to you from a position of privilege. I'm privileged that I live in a country with good, cheap, affordable healthcare. I am lucky that I've always been in a field that pays really well. And I'm also lucky in the sense that I can live off little money because I, for example, don't have a family. So if that's not you, then I just wanted to acknowledge that, and I want to say that I see you, and I realize that not everybody is like can think of this from like a vacuum, from a place of total freedom. Still, I hope and I think that the important thing is that you find that balance, that point where you are in touch with your own creativity and you are making space to connect with that, and that it doesn't matter how you tweak that balance, is what I'm trying to say. Because in the end, really, that's all it comes down to find a balance that works for you and that fulfills you creatively while also paying the bills. And believe me, all the rest is extra. Like, it does not matter how many followers you have on Instagram. It doesn't matter if you make it by the time you're 25. All that is just not what it's about. Because, you know, it may look important from the outside, but it really isn't. All that's important is whether or not you can make a connection to your creativity on the inside. So if you're doing that and you're being creative in a way that's sustainable and you're enjoying yourself, then you're already doing super awesome, and I'm proud of you. Anyway, guys, I've been thinking a lot about this lately, so I thought I'd share. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, then please give it a like. Maybe think about subscribing. Comment below if you have any questions or remarks for me. Also, don't forget to check out my ongoing series, The Raven's Toll. It's on here on YouTube, but also in all the other places. They're all linked below. And if you want to get really in-depth with me, the best thing to do is go to my website and subscribe to my newsletter. And the link to that is also going to be below. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you soon. Bye!